Okay, we are live. We are ready to have the share in person or on the screen. Can you see that, Alan?
No.
Yeah, it's good. You don't have to watch. I'm here. You don't have to watch me there. There's no point. Curious. You can have a look. Please be as curious as you want to. But
Oh, yes.
can you see? Okay, so on my camera up there, the camera takes the video, and as I speak, it videos it and it sends it out, and it tells me if people join us for the share. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But you know what? If nobody joins us, then that's their loss. Okay, let's start with the following. I think the very, very important point over here. Again, as I said to the people that are sitting here before, we have a shorter shir tonight. The reason we're having a shorter shir tonight is because I have to speak across the road at the Seed Center. My wife has a program there, so I'm going to be speaking at that program. Hi, Stephen. You know, of all the people to join us, it's always the guard from outside who's the first one in. Hey, Steve. Right. And so the Torah says the following: Vayeishev Yaakov be'eretz Megure Aviv be'eretz Canaan. Yaakov settled, dwelled in the land that his parents lived in Eretz Canaan. And there is a famous Rashi over here. That Rashi says the following. There's a medrash that he quotes in Bereshis Rabbah. Vayeishev. Vayeishev doesn't only mean he lived, but it actually means he settled. He settled down. And the point of this passage is the following. Rashi says, Bikesh Yaakov leishev b'shalva. Yaakov wanted to live in peace and quiet and tranquility. He wanted everybody to leave him alone. Kovatz alav ragza shel Yosef. And the problems with Yosef arose. Because tzaddikim mevakshim leishev b'shalva, the tzaddikim want to live in peace and tranquility in this world. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to the tzaddikim, Lo dayan letzaddikim asher masuk lehem la'olam haba. Is it not enough? Hi, come on in. Right? Is it not enough for the tzaddikim that they have already there, olam haba, the world to come set up in such a wonderful way? But they also want to have the opportunity to live in peace and quiet in this world. Says the Medrash, that's too much. Can't have both. Okay, so it's an interesting one to contemplate, and I'll tell you why it's an interesting one to contemplate. If you think about it, Yaakov Avinu, it's not like he's had the easiest life so far. Let's recap Yaakov Avinu. Let's think about Yaakov Avinu. What happened? What he was in the last 30 years of his life, or more than that. Yaakov Avinu is born to Yitzchak and Rivka. He's got the stronger brother, Esav. Okay, he's worrying about it. Esav goes off the derech. Esav becomes whoever he becomes. And Yaakov at age 63, he's sitting, he's learning. All is peaceful and quiet. He doesn't want to disturb anyone. And his mother comes, yeah, come in. Hi, it's me. Hi, Mom. What's up? Well, I just heard your brother Esav speaking to your father Yitzchak. Right? They talk quite often. Yeah, but you know what they want? Your father wants to give your brother blessings. Oh, okay, fine. Go ahead. No. I want you to go there, and I want you to steal those blessings. What? I'm going to steal Esav's blessings? How could I steal Esav's blessings? They're not mine, and my father's going to curse me. And she says, don't worry about it. I've got this one covered. I want you to listen to me, and I want you to go and to steal those blessings. And Yaakov goes and he dresses up and he does the whole charade, and he has to lie to his father, and finally he gets the blessings, and he comes out, and Esav walks in, and Esav says, Dad, get up. So what is it? I brought you food. Eat and bless. Yeah, that's how Esav spoke. There was no pleasantries or anything. He says, who are you? I just gave someone a blessing. I am Esav. Oh. And who is the guy who was here before? Me who outside. Who's the guy that just came before? And I ate everything and I gave him a blessing. Let him remain blessed. That's it. As we mentioned before, Yitzchak gave away the blessing to Yaakov. And Esav has what we call a cow. Not only a cow, he's got an entire herd. Right? And he turns around and he says, if I find this Yaakov, I knew Yaakov as a charlatan. I knew Yaakov does all these kind of things, and he steals things from me. And he thinks to himself, when the time comes, when daddy goes, Yaakov's going to go as well. He's just going to follow along very, very swiftly. And Rivka finds out, and she comes to Yaakov, and she says, Yaakov, I think at the moment it's gotten a little bit dangerous for you to stay here. Why? Your brother, who's not the nicest guy, you know, that brother that kills people for fun? Yeah. Well, you're on his hit list, and actually, you're on the FBI top 10 most wanted list, and you're number 1. Oh. Well, what do? There's no problem. You just travel off to Haran. Right? Okay, where's Haran? Haran is wherever it is. This is the way you get there. My brother lives there, and you will be there, and you'll marry your wife, and you'll have children there. He says, okay, and he goes to Haran. So now he's had to run away from his own household. Eliphaz, Esav's son, runs after him, steals every last penny that he has, so that he could fulfill his father's words. It says, the Medrash says that Eliphaz wanted to kill him, and he comes to Yaakov, and Yaakov says, don't kill me. He says, all right, I won't kill you, but what am I going to do? My father told me I have to kill you. He says, okay, you know what you do is you take all my money, and Oni Choshev Kamei, somebody who's poor is as if he's died. He says, fine, okay. So he takes all the money. So now he's penniless, running away from his brother. He ends up in Haran. Now he ends up in Haran, he ends up by another nicest kind of guy. His name is Lavan. Lavan is a pain in the neck to live by. So first Lavan makes him work for free for a month. Then Lavan promises him his daughter, and he works for 7 years. And after those 7 years, what does he get? The wrong wife. So Lavan says, don't worry about it. I'll give you another wife. Do you want the other one? That's fine. Just work another 7 years. So he works another 7 years. Then he works another 6 years for Lavan. 20 years working by this fellow who is just the worst boss in the world, with the worst working conditions, with the worst workers' rights, etc., etc. Lavan changes the price and changes the value 100 times, and Yaakov just sticks with it and sticks with it and sticks with it, and finally he's ready to leave, and he leaves at night, and he runs away from Lavan, and Lavan follows after him, and he's standing there, and Lavan says, okay, what are you doing? He says, you know, we ran away. We weren't sure that you were going to let us go, so we decided to run away. He says, how could you run away? And you stole my God. He says, okay, look through my stuff. So he goes and he starts looking through all this stuff, and he starts going through all of Yaakov's possessions. Can you imagine? Have you ever been in the airport when they open up your suitcase? Sir, will you open up the suitcase, please? Yeah. How do they go through your suitcase? Okay. Not very carefully. Oh, nothing there. Closed. Give it back to you. Your entire suitcase is a mess and a half at the moment, and that's just the way it goes. We're going to mess up your entire suitcase. So can you imagine what Lavan did? You think Lavan picked everything up nicely? Let's put it back again. Right? That's not how it went. It became an entire hunt for these things, and he goes and he looks through Esav's things, and he looks through Rachel's and Leah's and the Shvachos, and he just gets through everything, and finally he turns around and he says, I didn't find it, and Yaakov gives it to him. He says, okay, I'm going, goodbye, and they make a covenant, and that's the end of Lavan. And finally Yaakov makes it into Eretz Yisrael, and it's okay, and he feels everything's all right, and at that point his daughter gets kidnapped. And not only does his daughter get kidnapped, she gets violated by a man who then sends him a message. The man comes to Yaakov, and he says, I think this would make a good shidduch. Now, I don't know about you, but I just think that that's not a very good first move. You know, to violate someone's daughter and then to come in to ask them if you could have their hand in marriage. I don't know about you, but I think if that happened to anyone I know, the person would walk away without teeth. I mean, you'd want to lynch him. What in the world do you think you're doing? But he did this to Yaakov Avinu's daughter, and finally Yaakov Avinu says, okay, you know what, we're going to make a deal with you. And they try to get around it with trickery and with cleverness, and they say to him, if everybody has a bris milah, then we'll be okay. Fine, Shimon and Levi coming on the third day, they kill out the entire town, and Yaakov goes, what did you do? What do you mean? We're not letting our sister be treated like that. Absolutely not. There is no way my sister's going to be treated like that. Okay, so now he's got something else. He's got to worry about everybody that lives in the country that they're going to run after him and they're going to try to kill him. And then his father passes away, and his mother passes away. So he's had Yaakov Avinu has had a pretty harsh life so far. For Yaakov to turn around and Yaakov to say, I'm done. Okay, guys, finished. God, I'm sitting. I want peace and quiet. Do you ever have that when you come home? I don't know about you if you have that. I have that when you come home. You have an entire day of work and you sit down and you want to eat supper and you just want peace and quiet at supper. And your kids come over to you and they're like, Daddy, not now. Daddy, can I? whatever you want will have to be in 15 minutes. I am now eating supper. I want my peace and quiet. Just go away. Yeah? That's not a good way of saying it. Just say it nicely. Just go away. And they never listen. Yeah? So you try, but you just, I just want peace and quiet. I just want everybody to leave me alone and just to sit and enjoy my supper. Right? That's the kind of feeling that you get. Why can't I ever? It's the kind of thing that, you know, whenever I always find, I don't know what it is. I think my kids have like a timer. They know when you go in the shower to turn on the hot water and that you only get cold water and the pressure goes. You're like, how long does it take me to take a shower? 5 minutes, 7 minutes? Can you just leave the taps alone for 7 minutes? All I want is peace and quiet. Never, you know, for weeks, for hours, nobody will touch any of the water in the household until you decide to use the shower. That's just the way it is. You know, God, you know what I'm talking about, Michael? Yeah, God's they wind away of like just like clicking that switch just when you don't want it to click. So you have all this going on, and Yaakov says, "I just want peace and quiet." And God says to Yaakov Avinu, says, "What do you think? You have a right to go ahead and just to ask for peace and quiet? It's not good enough that you're going to get the world to come. You want this world as well." And that's an amazing, I think there's a very, very big lesson over here, and that's the following. The lesson of this is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying to us, this world is not for peace and quiet and tranquility. As much as you'd love to have peace and quiet and tranquility, and as much as that would be the thing that you would enjoy the most, this world is not a world of tranquility. God put us in this world, so some people have a more tranquil life, and some people will have a life that has a few more ups and downs. However, I must tell you, and I'm sure you who've seen it life a lot longer than I have will agree with this. Have you ever met anybody that goes through life without any issues, without any struggles whatsoever? I don't know. I tell you what, anybody that I know struggles. And those people that I don't know that struggle is because I don't know them well enough. Do you not agree with that? Yeah, Alan, what do you say? Yeah, Elliot, is that true? Yes. Everybody's got their struggles.
If they have an easy time, they make a whole fuss about the little things.
Oh, that's true. That is true, because they have to fuss about something. But you know what? I have found also that there are people that don't struggle, but they might not be struggling now. They might struggle in the future. So I know people that might, you know, they might have good shalom bayis and the kids and everyone's okay and panos is okay, etc., etc. You could go through a spate of life of 5 years where there's no massive struggles, but in the 5 years afterwards, it could be 3 massive struggles. It's not that every stage in your life is going to be full of struggles. That's not what it is. But within life, there's nobody who is going to go through life without struggles. There's nobody that's going to go through life without hardships. There's nobody going to go through life without tests. And when Yaakov Avinu says, I can't bear it, I don't want any tests anymore, God says, this world is not there for you to sit and chill out. It's not for pina coladas at the beach. That's not what this world is all about.
Except for Shabbos.
Well, even, okay, Shabbos is different. You can say, you know, Shabbos you can have what's called, and Shabbos is a day of rest. But I can still think of people that are going through struggles where Shabbos doesn't go away. So if you have somebody that sadly has somebody in the family that's unwell, they will struggle even on Shabbos. Because on Shabbos, maybe they'll feel better, maybe they won't feel better, but whoever it is, their loved one is that's unwell, remains unwell over Shabbos also. Yeah? So it's those struggles, you're right. Shabbos is meant to be Yom Shekula Shabbos and is meant to be Menucha, etc., etc. But not always are we guaranteed Menucha even on Shabbos. Yeah? We'd like. It'd be lovely. It'd be wonderful. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, struggles are part of this world. Struggles are part of the way that we function. And if you don't want to struggle, then God says, then what are you doing on this world? Because God has put us in this world to be able to, whether it is the big things or the little things, but everything in this world is made for us to struggle. We struggle with our Yetzer Hara. We struggle constantly with our base half. Then we could struggle with tragedies that happen to us. We could struggle with tragedies that happen within the community. We could struggle with parnasa. We could struggle with health. There's so many struggles that people have, could have, and do have in this world. And everything has been set up by HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a certain way for us to understand that this is going to be our life, this is going to be the struggles that we're going to have to go through, and these are going to be our tests. And if you come out on the other end, then God's got a plentiful reward for you to have. And every struggle that he's given you has a reason it's there, and also has the reward that comes with it. But when Yaakov Avinu says, I just want to sit here and I want peace and quiet, that says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that is not on the cards at the moment. That wasn't one of the options. Okay? That's point number one. Point number two. We have over here a very interesting story. So Yosef has these dreams, and Yosef, first of all, Yosef gets this tunic, this Technicolor dream coat, if you want to call it that. But he gets this colorful dream coat. And then after he gets this colorful dream coat, he has these dreams. And he comes to his brothers and he tells them these dreams. And it's interesting that Yosef comes to his brothers and he tells them his dreams. Because if you were to think about it, imagine your brothers are not really keen on you at the moment anyway, because they feel that daddy likes Yosef best, right? I know in all families, there's always, whether there is or there isn't a real favorite, but there might often be a perceived favorite. Mommy always likes so-and-so, daddy always liked so-and-so best, right? And again, as I said, I don't know if these favorites are true favorites or there's perceived favorites, but it's irrelevant if it's a true favorite or perceived favorite. The bottom line is, if you feel that your parents love somebody else more than you do, you will resent that. And imagine if that sibling now comes over and he says, hey, Roger, just had a dream last night. And you're like, really? I don't want to hear. He goes, no, listen to me, listen to this. This one's great. Listen to this. We were all gathering stalks in the field. And at one point or another, all the stalks, all the bundles stood up, looked in my direction, and bowed down to me. What do you say to that one, Roger?
You've made my day.
You've made my day, right? You know, exactly. You've made my day. Brilliant. Just a brilliant thing. And then comes the next one. He has another dream, and the next dream is the 11 stars and the sun and the moon bowing down to him. And now he not only tells his brothers, he actually tells Daddy the story also. Dad, yeah, over the supper table. Can you imagine what dream I had? Guys, listen to this one. Oh, no, here it goes. I had a dream. Okay, what was your dream? I had a dream. Yeah, that's not the one. Yeah, sounds familiar. Yeah, it wasn't Martin Luther King. You know, it had nothing to do with black people and white people. I had a dream that 11 stars and the sun and the moon bowed down to me. And they knew exactly what that meant. He meant you and you and you and all of you guys are going to be bowing down to me. And at that point, they're all like, twice? 2 dreams? 1 is not enough. Not enough that daddy likes you best. Not enough that you had these megalomaniac thoughts. You have to tell us about your dreams. Do you have to like drive at home? Do you have to really make everybody feel bad? What is wrong with you? Right? That's what they would feel. Says the Seforno an important thing. The Seforno says, he speaks about Yaakov also. That Yaakov shouldn't have done what he did. But then Seforno says, Vayagid le'echov. He had a dream and he tells his brother, says the Seforno, Gam zeh also michisoron ha'etza kenar. This wasn't a clever move. And this was the move, according to Seforno, of a youngster. This was the move that is being done by somebody who is young, who is inexperienced, who doesn't yet realize the outcomes of his actions. Right? That's what he says. I think it's a very, very important, very interesting thing to say. Meaning, it can be eitz, it can be one of 2 things. Eitz, it could mean either asking advice, or it could mean understanding. But either way you understand it, what Seforno is saying is, Yosef is a young man. He's 17 years old. So he's the youngest of his brothers. And he's very happy-go-lucky, and things are going well for him. And his father's got him this coat, and he's really, really doing very well. And then suddenly he has these dreams. And he tells these dreams to his brothers. Now, he knew what these dreams meant. It's not like Yosef says, what do you guys think these dreams will mean? Oh, I don't know. Well, he knew very well. And therefore, Seforno says, not a clever idea. If you know already that your brothers aren't great fans of yours, he knew that they don't have the greatest feelings towards you. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why are you saying what you're saying or doing what you're doing? So it could either be because Yosef was still young and he was inexperienced. The Navi tells an interesting story. The Navi tells a story about the split of the kingdoms. There was the kingdom of the north, which was Yehuda and Binyamin, and there was the kingdom of the south, which was Ephraim, was taken over by Yerovam and Nevat, and everybody else, right? And in those two kingdoms, originally, how did the split occur? How did it happen that those two kingdoms split? So it tells a Navi a story. When Shlomo HaMelech dies, Rechavam ben Shlomo, Rechavam was Shlomo's son who becomes the next king, is asked by the advisors or by the people. They say to him, look, your father was a great king, but he was really tough on the taxes. I mean, 40, 50% tax rates, et cetera, et cetera. Tax rates way too high. Could you bring down those tax rates, please? Please, could you see if you could get them down? And Rechavam says, I'll think about it. And he goes to the aldermen of his kingdom, and he says to them, what do you guys think? And they say, you know what? You're not your father. Your father could pull it off. He was the great king. He was the cleverest and the wisest old man. He built the temple. I can understand how your dad pulled this off. But you are not your father. And as you are not your father, you have no right to demand taxes like your father did. Just give in. Leave them. Maybe at a later date. When you've bought their love, when you've bought their allegiance to you, then at that point, maybe you could try that. Right? And then he goes, asks his young friends. And his young friends listen to the problem and listen to the conundrum, and they say, you what? You're going to give in to those people, to the people that are coming, to the plebs that are asking you to put down the taxes because they feel it's too much? How dare they talk to a king like that? That's no way to talk to a king. No, we are not going to have that. You know what we're going to do? We are going to up the taxes. And are we going to up the taxes? We're going to up the taxes tremendously. There's going to be a tremendous amount of taxes, and they're going to rain down heavily on the people, and people are going to end up having to pay a tremendous amount more. If your father took 50%, you'll take 75%. You show those people who's boss. And Rechavam has a choice now. He can listen to the youngsters, he can listen to the eldermen. And he makes the mistake and he listens to the youngsters. He takes the wrong advice. And the Gemara says, from there we see sometimes that binyan na'arim stira, the building of young people, could be destruction. Ustiras zekenim binyan. And the destruction of older people can be considered building. Because what that means is, just because the young people say to you, go for it, go for it, go for it, doesn't mean that that's a good idea. It could be a horrible idea. It could go terribly wrong. And if the older people say to you, they are much wiser, they have much more life experience, they say, leave it. Don't build. What do you mean don't build? Don't invest further. Don't do more. I'm young, I'm strong, I'm fit. I'm going to get this done. And we say, no, don't do it. Do yourself a favor. Don't do that. So even though they're telling you not to build, they are building you up because they might be giving you much better advice. They might be telling you the right things as opposed to the wrong things. And in general, they probably will be telling you the right things over the wrong things. And so you got to be very, very careful that you listen to the right people. And it means mechisayin ha'etza kenah, he didn't take proper advice. Or alternatively, young people have a certain way of thinking, but they are not always on the ball with the way they think. You know, we as even myself, I would say, like, you know, and I'm only, you know, I'm 37, but if I think back 10 years, you think to yourself, everything's possible. Everything's possible, and I can do everything, and I can make everything, and I could, you know, young people, you know, God has given them a certain idealism. And it's not a bad thing. Baruch Hashem, young people have idealism, because otherwise young people would never get up to anything. You have an idealism, and I want to be big, and I want to make it big, and I want to earn a lot of money, and I'm going to build a property. Whatever you want to do, whatever it is going to do, you can do it if you want to. It's definitely fun.
It's hard to fight against peer pressure. That's the problem.
Oh, it is hard to fight against peer pressure. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. You got to be very, very careful with that. However, but what we see from that is that the youngsters over here, we see Yaakov Avinu is in Chisaron Ha'etza. He didn't have Yosef wasn't yet developed in his thought process yet. He wasn't developed in the way that things would be correct or things would be incorrect. And so therefore Sepharno tells us he made the mistake. He shouldn't have gone and told his brothers these dreams. It's not going to help him. It's not going to endear him to his brothers. It's going to do exactly the opposite. They're going to be angry. They're going to be upset. They're going to be hurt. How could you? How dare you? You're already, Daddy already likes you best. You have to now tell us about your dreams, how you think that you're going to be our king. You got to be careful. You always have to be careful. Ask questions. Do things with seichel. Think about it first. Don't just be rash and don't take advice from the wrong people. Think about things and think about the outcome of things and think about what those things could symbolize or could do in the positive and in the negative, and only then make your decision and only then decide to do what is right or what is wrong. Okay? Thank you very much. Sorry for the short share. Thank you for joining us live. It will be available on YouTube soon as well.